Guardians, Ghosts, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Adam and today I've got my eye on the Destiny Alpha. I must say, as a long-time PlayStation gamer, it's very weird looking at a Bungie logo through a PlayStation system. But it's 2014, here we are, and so I'm going to jump into the Destiny Alpha, which was a surprise reveal with E3, because we were expecting an announcement about the beta release, which we did get for it to be July 17th, but a select handful of players, a few thousand give or take, have been able to jump into the alpha over the course of the weekend, which I was one of the lucky numbers to do so. So let's jump into it then. I've played for a few hours now, I'm up to level 4. The maximum number is level 8 by the way. Ignore my PSN ID, it's a long story. Now, I chose the Titan class. Now, as far as I'm aware, you can't actually name your character, but for the purpose of this video, I'll name him Donald, for reasons. Right, so we're going to head to the sort of, I guess you can call it the location map, and this is my ship. Now, you can set your destination from here and choose where you want to go. Now, there's 3 locations to choose from. There's the tower, which is like the main social hub. There's Earth, which is where the main, crux of the content will be, which is in all Russia, and then there's the Crucible, where you can find your online PvP type of competitive multiplayer settings. But throughout this video, I'm gonna dive mostly into all Russia. So, welcome to the world of Destiny. And as you can see graphically, from in just an alpha state, it looks pretty good, pretty impressive. I wouldn't say the best I've seen the PS4 so far. That really, in my opinion, goes to Killzone Shadowfall, but that was an exclusive, and it was designed from the ground up to be on PS4. But this looks pretty impressive early on, and Bungie have said that this version of it was a fair few months old. This is a much older build, and that the beta version will look much better. So it's be interesting to see how it ultimately finally looks. So I'm just going to roam around here and find some enemies now. I think I'll find some around this corner, because the reason for that is that the one problem I've had with the game so far is I'm taking out these Fallen here, who seem to be pretty easy, as you can tell by the number above the red. They a level 2 class. Now, the one problem I did have, as I was just getting into, was that the enemies respawn incredibly quickly. If you leave a little particular area, and about 10 seconds later, enemies will respawn, which kind of takes you out of the sense of immersion, really, because you, apart from seeing a few online players, you are almost pretty much out on your own, unless if you invite people with you. And I get the impression maybe Bungie have only done this for the alpha, that the enemies respawn very quickly, just to allow you to level up quickly and get the most of the content before the alpha finished over the weekend. Now, I just collected some leaves there, some special called spin metal leaves, which act as part of your loot. Now, the first impression I got as soon as I started the game was, the main thing that I wanted to know was, right, how good has Bungie been? Considering I've never played a Halo game, how good are they at the gunplay? How satisfying does it feel to fire guns? And almost immediately I felt, yeah, I could see why people got excited by them, and how hugely popular the Halo franchise got, because it does feel incredibly satisfying. As I find a loot box here. Now I'm just going to temporarily come out of Old Russia and take you to the tower. Now, this is the tower. Now, as you can see straight away, we're in a third person perspective now. Now, I want you to think of another sci-fi game and tell me what you think this reminds you of. Have you thought of it? If you said Mass Effect, you'd be 100% right, because that is the first thing that came into my head when I saw this. When I first landed in the tower, I thought, I gotta admit, this is Mass Effect. You just basically command a Shepard running around the Citadel. And I just go into a gunsmith here to obviously acquire new guns. And the one thing I was impressed by straight away, when considering I put so many hours into Borderlands, one of the things I found frustrating Borderlands is that it was quite cumbersome to find out and compare your weapons and Destiny seems to do that a lot more satisfying, a lot more quickly, and a lot more streamlined in that regard. Now, going back to the Mass Effect thing, yeah, it does very much feel like Mass Effect in that regard, but in terms of the story, I don't think Destiny is going for much of a way of a plot. It's basically just going to be this big open world sci-fi game where you land on various planets, shoot up the place with your mates, and just level up. Right, it's basically, even though Bungie won't admit it, it is an MMO in all but name, just without the requirement for subscriptions or loads of microtransactions, but this is basically, for me, an MMO. Now, we're just going to go into the inventory here, which, as you can see, I'm still level 4. This is all the gear I received over the course of the game so far. And like I say, you can find out pretty much straight away of just how quickly, or just how good each weapon is compared to the one you currently equipped. Now, you have some of that's core encrypted here. When you find them, you have to take them back to the tower so that a man will ultimately unlock them and you get special loot or a special gun or a special ability that you're able to unlock. Now, I did find it rather strange in the menus. It seems to go for this cursor type of scenario, which seems a bit strange on a console, but whatever. Now, you notice in the bottom left corner it says unable to summon. Now, this is because I'm indoors. The thing that I'm unable to summon is my vehicle, which is basically a speeder bike. I did have a bit of a problem with this because I felt the map was too small for you to really cover much distance. It was very stop-start in that regard. But nevertheless, you know, maybe on a bigger map it will feel incredibly satisfying and cool to, you know, drive around and get from A to B much quicker. Now, as you can see in the distance there, there's a couple of online players. I've not invited them. It basically, this is the thing that I think sells me on Destiny mostly, is that they seem to be going for something that was similar in Journey on the PS3, where you're able to meet up with other online players. It's very seamless. But at the same time, it's up to you whether if you want to interact with them or not. They can just go about their business or not. Now, unfortunately, I didn't capture the footage of this, but I met up with a couple of online players in a similar area earlier where they were getting attacked by a load of enemies, and I helped take them down from a distance. And after I did so, the two characters almost in unison waved at me, and so I waved at them back, and just that little moment felt like, right, I kind of get what Destiny's wanting to do here, what Bungie are wanting to do, you know, just is more comfortable. I mean, for me, Destiny's been hard to sort of sell to people compared to something like Titanfall, because sometimes some games just need a through line. Like with Titanfall, you could just say Call of Duty with mechs, right? With Borderlands, with Destiny, the impression I've got with it for a long time was Borderlands without the humour and the kind of hard-boiled comic style. But having seen this, I think it is quite impressive just how seamless Bungie are wanting to put both online and single player into it together, so much so that you can dive into a story campaign with two online players without no need for interaction between them, but all three players knew exactly what to do and where to go. Although I would say that for navigational purposes, I would like to see a proper full map to be introduced, because I did get slightly lost in where I was meant to go, and I much prefer using a proper map and knowing exactly where I am with regards to looking for various things in terms of missions or locations. So I'll just wrap up now my impressions. Like I said, Destiny from a gunplay point of view, it's incredibly impressive. The guns that you get better immediately feel better. There's a great, I wouldn't say weight to them, but there's very much a good kick in them. You know, I can definitely see why Halo's proved a massive success over the years, with both its multiplayer modes, its online infrastructure, and also just how satisfying from a gameplay point of view it's been. You know, I can clearly get that from just immediately starting up Destiny. So you can definitely see why Halo was so incredibly popular. But overall as a game, how big do I think Destiny will be? I think it has the potential, even more than Titanfall, to be massive. Titanfall's problem from the sounds of it, bearing in mind I'm a PlayStation gamer, that I've not played it, the impression I've been getting from a lot of people is that it's fun, but it kind of it doesn't, it kind of outstays its welcome. It lacks it lacks enough depth in its modes, its gameplay, and it was a strange one time for, because I felt that a lot of the media kind of hyped it up a bit too much. You know, you just say the same with Watch Dogs as well, really. It's always a dangerous thing to get overhyped about some games. And I haven't been that much hyped for Destiny. But having said that, I think this has potential to be absolutely massive. Because if you're the type of gamer who plays Call of Duty all the time, then you kind of get that with Destiny. You can just go into the Crucible and take all the loot that you got from the main game and your main weapons and just play along there and you level up there, right? But if you want something just that little bit different but still want to play with your mates, you can do that, and it's all very quick and very simple to do. And I think that's what Bungie are going for. They may not call it an MMO, but this seems to me like it could be the closest thing in bringing that sort of competitive multiplayer FPS game with, you know, an MMO. I think that's what Bungie are going for, even though they seem to be reluctant to really label the game saying, oh, it's an FPS RPG or it's an MMO. But for me, I think that's what Destiny's going to be, and I think that's the reason alone that's getting a lot of people excited. So I'll just wrap up here by saying that the Destiny beta from Bungie will be available first on PS3 and PS4 on July 17th, a few days later on Xbox 360 and Xbox One. My name is Adam, and I'll see you again very soon. Be lucky.